We do. All right. For millennia, the Western Abenaki people have called this land home. They have loved and cared for this land. We now have the privilege of gathering here as a religious community. Let us do so honoring this legacy of love and stewardship. Morning. I'm Denise Bailey, your worship associate today. On behalf of the entire worship team, I welcome you. We deeply appreciate your presence, yes, I'm reading, and fellowship as part of our beloved Unitarian Church of Montpelier. For 160 years, this church has been a sanctuary for those seeking spiritual sustenance, as well as peace and justice in the community and in the world. With you, we continue today on that path. It's always a pleasure to have newcomers and guests join us for our worship. If this is your first or second time joining us and you wish to do so, you're invited to stand or wave your hand so we may offer you a special welcome. Looks like we're all old timers. Good. Any of you who are newcomers, it's good to have help. Thank you. Any of you who are newcomers to our congregation are invited to fill out our welcome form available at the hospitality table in the vestry during coffee hour so that we can connect with you and welcome you more fully. Now we can all join in the welcoming by taking a few moments to turn to your neighbor in the pews and share some words of greeting. Thank you for sharing these warm greetings. You're invited to continue your conversation after the service during coffee hour. Please note that we do have hearing assist devices available on the table at the rear of the sanctuary, and you can listen to and watch the service in the fireplace room downstairs if you should need to leave the sanctuary for any reason. A member of our lay pastoral care ministry will be available in the sanctuary after the service if you have personal concerns and would like to share more deeply. This morning, our lay pastoral care person is me. So I'll be hanging out here after service if you want to talk. And now, let's take a deep breath. Make sure our cell phones are silenced and enter more deeply into our time of worship with the prelude. I just want to say very briefly, welcome back, Dr. Sarah Huff, who will be, and she will be playing the prelude with one hand only.
Good morning. I invite you to join me in saying our opening words this morning, which are called Celebrating Abundance by Julian Jamaica Soto. And here are the words. All that we are, together and individually, is part of the abundance of the universe. All that we have comes from Earth, from the labor of those in our communities. From the cities, farms, and oceans that provide us, the world, and those who live in it. We are surrounded by blessing, by grace, and by possibilities. We respect and honor one another's differences. We celebrate our community with abundance and practice generosity. Come, let us worship together. And let us join our voices together in our opening hymn, number 38 in the gray hymnal, Morning Has Broken. Please rise in body or spirit.
Thank you so, whoops. Hi. Thank you so much, everyone. I understand the Sky family is here to help light the chalice. Any way you like. So who do we have here?
You want to say your name? Would you like to be Dominic or Omi today? Okay, I won't say your name. Would you like me to say your name?
Oh,
My name is Balin.
Bailey. All right. Would you like to light the chalice today?
I would.
All right.
Would you guys like to help me? Yes? Okay. So, you put those down. Good. Okay. How about if you hold the box? You want to hold the match? We could do that together. Yeah. We could do that part together. Would you like to hold the box? Okay, ready? And then we say some words, right? In the children's chapel, we say, we light this chalice, right, as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. This is a church of open hearts, loving hands. Thank you.
And would you all love to say the affirmation with me? Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant. Thank you, Sky family.
With the story for all ages?
Sure. You got it, Caitlin?
At this time, I'd like to invite anyone up who would like to join us for the Time for All Ages. We are going to be hearing a story this morning called The Best Meal.
Shall we turn around for story for all ages? Kind of fun up here, huh?
Good morning, everyone. It is so nice to see you all. Thanks for joining for our story today. So today we are going to hear a story about a legendary chef who likes to host parties with an abundance of good things. Does anyone know what the word abundance means? Abundance. Any ideas? Feel it.
Lots.
Lots, yes. Overflowing, plentiful, lots, exactly. So abundance is our worship theme for the month. And in this story, there is also a family who shares a meal together. And sometimes before a meal, people will say grace or a short blessing. Does anyone here ever say grace or a short blessing before a meal? Or have you ever done that before? Yeah, sometimes it can be something very simple, and sometimes it can be longer. So in our story, the mother will speak before the family eats, and the children will respond, "It's a blessing," and they'll raise their hands up. During those parts of the story, do you think you all could say, "It's a blessing" when the children speak and raise your hands up like a grace or a blessing? All right, so let's practice one time through. So the mother says some words, and then the children reply, "It's a blessing." Nice, fantastic. All right. So, let's begin. Once there was a legendary chef who was famous throughout the land. She was so good at cooking that she taught other student chefs how to cook. And just for fun, she would throw dinner parties once a month to share her craft. Everyone wanted to be invited to these renowned dinners. She instructed the student chefs to cook new, wondrous, and abundant dishes. The dinner guests, in awe of the chef's skills, would spend the dinner savoring each and every bite. All you would hear would be the quiet little oohs, ahs, yum. And because the chef wanted to always feature new dishes for people at these parties, she would travel far and wide to experience new food. Everywhere she went, she was honored by the village, the town, or the city that she stopped in. The best cooks in each place would create dishes unique to their region and try to wow the chef. She tasted them all and requested only the recipes that she liked the very, very best. And as you can imagine, she ate a lot of food and knew a great deal about how to prepare the very best meals. Well, one evening, while traveling home, the chef stopped at a quaint country farmhouse to ask for directions to a nearby inn. The family insisted that she spend the night with them. and happily, she was just in time for dinner. So she stayed, and the mother took out a casserole from the oven, brother tossed a salad with vegetables, and sister sliced the bread. "Let me help," said the chef. So she set the table for them. When everyone was seated at the table, the family held hands. The chef felt the younger sister's hand slip into hers, and the chef in turn reached out for the brother's hand. The mother said, "To enjoy this gift of food," and the children raised their hands and said, "A blessing." The mother said, "The sunset and the possibility of another sunrise tomorrow. It's a blessing." That's right. Nice job. And then the mother said, "The love of family, the warmth of friendship, and the grace of spirit." And the children and the chef all replied together, "It's a blessing." Then they laughed, happy that the chef had joined in their grace. They ate, and during this very simple meal, everyone told stories about their day. The chef, to her surprise, could not believe how delicious the food was. She didn't want the dinner to end. But all things must end, and off to bed the children went. "May I have the recipes?" the chef asked the mother, who was flattered to be asked. And in the morning, the chef rode on toward home. When she got back, she went straight to her large kitchen and gave her student chefs the recipes and told them to prepare a dinner for the very next night. The next day, the guests arrived, and the casserole and the salad and the bread were served. The chef took a bite and chewed, but something was wrong. Something was missing. Oh. This was not like the meal she had at the farmhouse. "You okay, Benji?" Yeah, okay. She asked the students to explain what they had done differently, but they promised they had only followed the recipes. So she sent someone to the farmhouse to find the mother. The mother came, and the chef asked what was missing. "What's missing cannot fit in a recipe," the mother replied. "Did you and your guests make the meal together? Did you hold fast to each other's hands while giving thanks? Did you share your stories during the meal? Did you savor the abundance of love in and around you?" "No," the chef replied. None of that had happened. Then the chef realized that sharing a meal together was more than about just eating good food. After that, the chef decided instead of holding big, fancy dinner parties, she would hold small, cozy dinner gatherings. She, her students, and the guests would all cook together, give thanks together, share stories together, laugh together, and enjoy the very best of meals. So what I love about this story is that sometimes when I hear the word abundance, I immediately think of things like the abundance of flowers that are outside right now. But if we only count the things that we can touch or see, we miss the many types of abundance in our lives, like the abundance of care, of kindness, of love. So I have a challenge for you all today, to see if you can name the abundant things in your life that you can't see or touch, but that you can feel and that you know are there. All right. So today in our spiritual exploration program, we will be having a worship workshop where we will help shape next Sunday's all ages service by counting and sharing our gratitudes and our blessings. So this morning's program is for children and youth all ages from pre-K on up. And when we sing everyone out, we will exit here through the door at the front. And if this is your first time joining, please come with your child and fill out a brief registration form, and then you're welcome to stay or return to service. And then everyone will be dismissed downstairs about 11:15. Please be sure to sign your children out. Youth will meet back up with their adults in coffee hour. And now let's sing out our children and youth as they go.
Good. So we have some announcements today. Church, we have two things. The worship team will have a discussion in the Children's Chapel at 11:30. So you can go there with any questions you might have about worship. And in the vestry, the climate action team will have a discussion about eating lower on the food chain. And what it says here is practical, satisfying ways our food choices can be kinder to the planet. And it's going to be with retired dietitians Marianne Ludlow and Eileen Siegel. So there will be snacks downstairs. In that meeting, upstairs you'll get spiritual sustenance. Thanks, Joan. So now it's time for the offering. Generosity is both a spiritual practice and a practice that is central to the well-being of all. It is a blessing and a privilege of our free church tradition to support the shared values of this congregation with the generosity of our collective financial resources. Each month, through the UCM Community Pouch Program, we share part of our collection with an important church fund or a community organization aligned with our values. This month, that organization is All Brains Belong. Half of our cash offerings will go to our pouch recipient. The other half will directly support the mission and ministry of this congregation. You can find the offering pouches at the end of the pews on the side aisles. Please pass them towards the center aisle. We're so grateful to each and every one of you for your generosity in its many forms. Your offering will now be gratefully received.
And what the choir will, what we'll all do is we'll sing each part in succession twice through so that you can maybe pick up on it and sing along. I think the words will be projected up there, but you'll also sort of remember them. And then after we sing each line, each part in succession, then we'll start the layering process. And there's no wrong or right. The choir's going to do it a certain way. There we go. The choir's going to do it a certain way. Sing whatever you want, or don't sing and just enjoy it. So we'll be doing just a short little piano introduction, and then we'll start the first part. Sing for the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the sky, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Again, for the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Grateful, grateful we praise, 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 grateful beginning. The beauty of the earth. Now the part two. Sorry, lack of communication there.
For bringing that old favorite to us with new life. And thanks to all of you for the generosity of your gifts freely given today. They are received with deep gratitude for the difference they allow us to make for one another in our church community and beyond. Thank you. And if I could just, Dan Jones, where are you, sound man? Could you turn this down just a little bit? I'm getting some feedback. Let's see if that's better. Oh, yeah. Better? Okay. Thank you. I invite us to join in a time of meditation and prayer, this time in our service where we allow ourselves to just settle in and be present, allowing any of the thoughts that we might have lurking in our minds, the to-do lists, the what-ifs, the what is waiting for me when I leave today, to just let those go. And to know that nothing is being asked of you in this moment except to be here present to yourself and to one another. And in this presence, you might become aware of what you might be holding in your heart and in your spirit as you are present. There might be joy and gratitude for the beautiful music, for this chance to just be quiet, for a recent life milestone or something worth celebrating. There might also be present some reason for sorrow, and maybe sorrow for no reason at all, but just a presence to some sadness, some suffering. And we can be with that too. I lift up for us in prayer those places that are hurting, near and far, places marked by violence and war that we personally may not have made, and yet that is waged in our name, sending love and compassion to all of those places. And in that spirit, on this Memorial Day weekend, I offer you these words of prayer by Barbara Peskin. Spirit of life, whom we have called by many names, in thanksgiving and in anguish, bless the poets and those who mourn. Send peace for the soldiers who did not make the wars, but whose lives were consumed by them. Let strong trees grow above graves far from home. Breathe through the arms of their branches. The earth will swallow your tears while the dead sing, no more, never again, remember me. For the wounded ones and those who received them back, let there be someone ready when the memories come. When the scars pull and the buried metal moves, and forgiveness for those of us who were not there for our ignorance. And in us, veterans in a forest of 1,000 fallen promises, let new leaves of protest grow on our stumps. Give us courage to answer the cry of humanity's pain, and with our bare hands, out of full hearts, with all our intelligence, let us create peace. And let us join now in a time of quiet meditation together. Our reading this morning is Wedding Poem by Ross Gay for Keith and Jen. Friends, I am here to modestly report seeing in an orchard in my town a goldfinch kissing a sunflower again and again, dangling upside down by its tiny claws, steadying itself by snapping open like an old-timey fan its wings again and again. Until, swooning, it tumbled off and swooped back to the very same perch where the sunflower curled its giant swirling of seeds around the bird and leaned back to admire the soft wind nudging the bird's plumage. And friends, I could see the points on the flower's stately crown soften and curl inward as it almost indiscernibly lifted the food of its body to the bird's nuzzling mouth, whose fervor I could hear from 20 or 30 feet away and see from the tiny hulls that sailed from their good racket, which good racket, I have to say, was making me blush and rock up on my tippy toes and just barely purse my lips with what I realize now was being simply glad, which such love, if we let it, makes us feel. A few weeks ago, I was jogging on the bike path here in town with the middle school track team. It's my second season of coaching middle school track here in Montpelier. One of the runners was well behind the rest of the group, and at first I assumed that they were simply tired. But as I got closer, I noticed that they had slowed to a walk because they were examining the newly emerging grass alongside the path. And in that moment, I was reminded how each of us moves through the world in such unique ways. So often, we find ourselves focused only on the path ahead, our minds busy with the next task, the next appointment, or the next problem to solve. And yet, every now and then, someone pauses just long enough to notice something small and alive that has been quietly waiting to be seen. Ross Gay's poem is full of that kind of attention. He notices the goldfinch, the sunflower, and what he discovers is not merely a bird feeding on seeds. He discovers delight. He discovers gladness. He discovers love. In other words, he discovers abundance. And I wonder if gratitude begins right there, not in having more, but in noticing more. Robert Emmons is known as the world's leading scientific expert on gratitude, and he notes that positive emotions wear off quite quickly. We adapt to positive life circumstances so that before long, the newness, the excitement, the pleasure of that sunflower or the newly growing grass, that joy no longer registers. Gratitude allows us to notice those positives more. And instead of adapting to the goodness around us, we are able to celebrate that goodness. Abundance, I believe, is not something we measure or count. It's a way of seeing, a state of heart and mind. The sociologist and author Brené Brown writes the following about scarcity and gratitude. She says, I think adapting to goodness without feeling gratitude is a function of scarcity. We either want things for the wrong reasons, then feel disappointed when we acquire them, or we just can't accumulate enough to feel whole, so we accumulate and adapt, never valuing or appreciating. Scarcity tells us there is never enough, And gratitude reminds us to notice what already is. Brown defines gratitude as an emotion that reflects our deep appreciation for what we value, what brings meaning to our lives, and what makes us feel connected to ourselves and to others. To practice gratitude, you can start by noting for yourself, what is it that you value? What gives you meaning? What helps you feel connected to yourself and to others? And often it's not material things that fill our lists. I wonder what you might find on yours. Maybe it's playing with children, the unsolicited laughter of a child in this very sanctuary, a walk in the woods, that morning sunlight gently streaming through a window, gentle rain nourishing the garden, a song that brings you hope. Gratitude is a natural response to that which enlivens our spirit. In Judaism, there's a beautiful practice called hakarat hatov, or recognizing the good. The practice of hakarat hatov is an acknowledgement that nothing is owed to us and that every blessing, no matter how small, is a gift. This tradition reminds us that gratitude is a value that's shared across many cultures and faiths and that nurtures our sense of connection and belonging. In the spirit of hakarat hatov, there's a Jewish practice of saying 100 blessings a day. I wonder if any of you have tried that before, some of you. 100 blessings may sound impossible until we begin to pay attention. A blessing for waking up. A blessing for clean water. A blessing for bread. A blessing for friendship. A blessing for laughter. The purpose is not to reach a specific number of blessings, but to train our eyes, our hearts, our senses to recognize how much of life is a gift. This becomes possible when we slow down and notice what is already present. Clean water from the faucet, breath in our lungs, fresh bread on our table. The practice changes nothing about the world around us. That faucet is the same faucet it was before. The loaf of bread is the same loaf of bread. But what changes is our awareness. We begin to see gifts where before we saw only ordinary things. When we offer our attention, gratitude can begin to blossom. And yet there are times when gratitude may not feel like enough. What do we do with gratitude when life is difficult? When the news is troubling, which is often, or when our own lives hold grief, uncertainty, or fear? At times, gratitude and other positive emotions, joy, delight, can feel small or even out of place in the face of the world's immense and growing troubles. There is a Zen parable that speaks to this tension. It goes like this. There was once a man, let's just say a person, who was being chased by a ferocious tiger across a field. At the edge of the field, there was a cliff. And in order to escape the jaws of the tiger, the man caught hold of a vine and swung himself over the edge of the cliff. Dangling down, they saw to their dismay there were more tigers on the ground below. And furthermore, 2 little mice were gnawing on the vine to which the person clung. They knew that at any moment they would fall to certain death. And that's when they noticed a wild strawberry growing on the cliff wall. Clutching the vine with one hand, they plucked the strawberry with the other and put it in their mouth. They had never before realized how sweet a strawberry could taste. The strawberry didn't make the tigers go away or stop the mice from their gnawing. Instead, it revealed that even in a world filled with danger and uncertainty, life still offers us moments of sweetness and beauty, inviting gratitude and wonder. The invitation is not to ignore the tigers. The invitation is to notice the strawberry anyways. Even surrounded by those tigers, this person found the small, delicious fruit. Scarcity may tell us there is never enough, but gratitude gently reminds us to notice what is already here. Bearing witness to what is worthy of praise is just as essential to being human as naming what is difficult or wrong. When we allow ourselves to receive delight and joy, even in the midst of hardship, we open ourselves to the fullness of life and deepen our appreciation. In Buddhism, gratitude is expressed through the Pali word katanyuta, meaning to have a sense of what was done. Becoming more aware of what has been done for us is at the root of this Buddhist quality of gratitude. And it's so easy to take things for granted, to overlook the gifts that fill our lives. We begin to imagine that things just simply appear, or we're just unaware that food on the table, the electricity giving us light in this sanctuary, the roads that helped us to get here. Katanyuta invites us to remember all that has been done on our behalf. This was A.J. Jacobs' motivation for writing the book, Thanks 1,000, A Gratitude Journey. Jacobs had started a tradition of saying a prayer of thanksgiving before dinner with his family, which we heard in the Story for All Ages how important that can be. As an agnostic, this wasn't a prayer to God, but it was a recitation of thank yous to all the people who had played a part in making their family's meal possible. And they had been doing this for a while, and then one day his 10-year-old son said, "You know, Dad, none of those people is in this room. If you really cared, you'd go and thank them in person." Those 10-year-olds always have good quips, don't they? And he thought, well, that's an interesting idea. And so he decided to take his son up on this challenge. And to make it a bit simpler for himself, he focused on just one food item. He set out to thank all the people who had made possible something he could not live without: his morning coffee. From the barista who served it, to the miner who extracted the iron used to make the steel and coffee roasters, he kept going, and the deeper he looked, the more people he found to thank. He summarizes what he learned from this adventure into 5 lessons, and 3 of those have to do with our attention and how being intentional about how we direct our attention can lead to gratitude. First, he says he learned to look up, to really notice the people he engages with on a daily basis, including the person who serves him his coffee. Next, he learned to smell the roses, he says, and the dirt and the fertilizer. He learned this from the person at the coffee shop who selects the different coffee varieties that they offer. This person showed him how to really taste coffee, treating each cup like a fine wine. Jacobs learned from him this art of savoring, picking up those hints of grass, I guess. I don't know. What do you taste in your coffee? Finally, he says he learned to find the hidden masterpieces that are all around. He noticed the lid on his coffee cup and learned that it was designed to let you bring your nose closer to the cup and really take in the aroma of the coffee. And he says these kinds of hidden masterpieces are all around us. This journey deepened Jacob's understanding of all that goes into his morning cup of coffee and of the many hands and hearts involved. He discovered how a practice of gratitude can bring more meaning to our lives. And he discovered what many religious traditions have been teaching for centuries. gratitude is more than a feeling, it's a practice. For example, in Islam, there are 3 levels of thankfulness. First, realizing and appreciating blessings within the heart. Second, saying thanks out loud. And third, expressing gratitude by doing righteous deeds. These steps are in line with the approach that A.J. Jacobs took in thanking all the people involved in making his morning coffee: awareness, expression, and action. One of the gifts of his gratitude journey was learning to let gratitude spark action. Even the simple act of writing a thank you note can keep gratitude flowing in our lives. Gratitude can inspire us to offer our time and service to others, just as it does for many of you who volunteer at Monday Community Lunch. Gratitude can move us to care more tenderly for the earth. All around us, the world quietly asks for our attention, our noticing, our care, and our thanks. Not because the world is perfect, but because it is precious. Abundance is not something we achieve, but something we learn to see. And in that seeing, our hearts are moved to give thanks. Perhaps the runner on the bike path understood something that I needed to remember that day. While the rest of us were focused on reaching the finish line, they had paused long enough to notice what was growing beside the path. And gratitude invites us to do the same. I'll close with these words by Ross Gay from a different poem of his, Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude. And you, again, you, for hanging tight, dear friend. I know I can be long-winded sometimes. I want so badly to rub the sponge of gratitude over every last thing, including you, which, yes, awkward, the suds in your ear and armpit, the little sparkling gems slipping into your eye. Soon it will be over, which is precisely what the child in my dream said, holding my hand, pointing at the roiling sea and the sky, hurtling our way like so many buffalo, who said, "It's much worse than we think, and sooner." To whom I said, "No duh, child in my dreams. What do you think this singing and shuddering is? What this screaming and reaching and dancing and crying is, other than loving what every second goes away? Goodbye, I meant to say, and thank you every day." Blessed be. Let us join now in our closing hymn. Life is the greatest gift of all, number 331 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit.
Thank you so much, everyone. We now extinguish the chalice with our unison mission statement. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurturing each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home.
And may you go from here aware of the abundance present in your own life, not a life devoid of hardship or challenge, but full nonetheless, with gifts aplenty. May you go with a grateful heart, sharing your thanks and your praise. And we conclude our service with the postlude.